is the moment.
The Bachelorette is back. And the power
I'm gonna fall in love.
is in Jen's hands.
And I'm gonna do it my way.
ABC tonight.
Everything about her is great.
I feel so special.
Jen's looking like a queen.
My men are very, very hot.
Someone call 911. You are looking so fired.
This is the beginning of a new era.
The Bachelorette. All new tonight, 8/7 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Your discretion is advised.
Savaged. Unfiltered. Your host, Michael Gardner.
Hey, Joseph, what's up, buddy?
Hey, you're not very punctual. You said 1 o'clock, then you changed it to 1:15, and
That was Mackenzie. Thank you, Mackenzie. So Mackenzie, she's not on the call today. Mackenzie,
sorry, Mackenzie. I didn't know that I was accidentally slamming you. I meant to just be teasing Michael.
Yeah. But she could hear you bits and pieces of it. There's a little partition wall between us. But
yeah.
Anyway, how's your week going? I almost said weekend, but how's your week going?
Oh, okay.
That's
Mondays, good. Even though I don't work, Mondays are still Mondays.
Yeah, I hear you. But Joseph, yeah, we're going to start here. I just want to, first of all, foremost, guys, I want to thank everybody that tuned out over the weekend, guys. I had another podcaster, a fellow podcaster on the show. Thank you very much. Hat tip to the Preacher Man, David Frazier, known as the Preacher Man, from his show Frazier Chronicles out of Indian Trail, North Carolina. So thank you very much, guys. Please, hit that like and follow button and check out some of his podcast episodes. Tremendous individual. So thank you very much, the Preacher Man, for being on the show, and I hope to have him back on the show. It was a great conversation. Joseph, I want to get into some detail here with you. With stuff that's going on. First and foremost, before we get into that, dig into that, I want to thank people that came out to the Melbourne Auditorium this past week in Melbourne, Florida. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio was basically using that venue in that auditorium there in Central Florida, Brevard County, Florida, also known as the Space Coast area of Florida. It's roughly only about maybe 25 minutes south of Cape Canaveral. Was introduced, guys, to a very, very large crowd this past Saturday. So it was just a few days ago. During the event called Hot Dogs, Apple Pie, and Marco Rubio. So thank you for those who attended. I attended personally. I got some pictures that I will be posting on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and we're going to do like a little video kind of plug-in on TikTok, because TikTok is mainly video, but we will put, a picture in there with, some added graphics or video or whatever. But Joseph, I just wanted to make that announcement. Joseph, I want to get into detail with you, buddy, of just what the hell is going on with Flip Flop Joe.
We're going to hell in a handbasket. But before we get that, I like to interject humor. So first, let me say, us older folks might hear Frasier and think it's a Cheers spinoff. And the other thing is, when you mention the Space Coast, it might actually think it's because Kevin Spacey lives there, which of course it has nothing to do with.
No.
And I can't pass on the bad puns, and just a little bit of my usual lame humor there to start us off.
I hear you, Joseph. If there was an Emmy or a Grammy for best humor of booksellers or book authors, I think you would be the nominee for that category.
Well, like I always say, as serious as the shit is, We've got to keep a sense of humor, which is why in Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, there's a comic relief chapter in that very serious book. Otherwise, we will be curled in a corner in a fetal position, crying all the time.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And what did you think of? I don't know if you heard though, but this speech is just fairly new in the media. Joe Biden now proclaiming that COVID, the pandemic, is officially over. But we still have to worry about COVID-19.
Well, it has been a very long road, but some promising news last night about the COVID pandemic.
President Biden saying that while there's still work to do, he believes the pandemic is over.
Yeah, I saw that. It's his usual mixed messaging, and I'm sure it's something that, most of his far left loon cabinet didn't appreciate him admitting that the Wuhan hysteria has long actually been over, because they don't want that messaging, because they're going to want to cheat in 2022 again. And so now they'll have to create a new virus hysteria rather than being able to say, oh, there's a resurgence of Wuhan and we got to shut everybody down again and mail everybody ballots again. They'll need a new excuse. So I'm sure, the Buttigieg and our former idiot governor, Jennifer Granholm, who is the Department of Energy head, who has no knowledge whatsoever on energy, and all the other cabinet members are all chosen for their left-wing loonyism and identity politics. Like
Savaged, unfiltered.
Especially we see the idiot Karine Jean-Pierre, who was chosen to check a black female lesbian, 3 boxes.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anything. She gets asked questions. She has to rummage through folders to read a response because she doesn't know anything. You could program a computer to put up there to answer questions better than Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, it's Karine Jean, Jean.
Thank you.
Yeah. She's no different than the former press secretary Peppermint Patty there, Jen Psaki. They both relate. They can't answer questions. They're constantly, they're doing that. What the Biden administration has been known now for like the last year and a half, going on 2 years, right? Almost 2 years. With the flip-flop scenario, they're asking questions and then they're going into some type of stupid rhetoric that doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with the question.
Yeah, I disagree just a tad. I think Psaki, or Psaki, however you want to pronounce it, had the brain capacity for the job. It's just that she was called upon to defend the indefensible all the time. And she had to spin, of course, all the bad policy. So I think she was ready for, like Ducey, who is about the only one in the room that asks any serious questions. She was prepared for them. She just had nothing intelligent to be able to say in response.
Yeah, I seen that. And this question actually, it's interesting. This question was asked by me, or to me, excuse me. Folks, I want to apologize. I missed my morning coffee this morning, so my wording might be off a little bit, Joseph. So I do apologize.
Yeah, but, I gave up coffee decades ago, so my fog. I don't know what other excuse there would be for.
Joseph, I can't live without it. But this question came up to me just the other day, and I'm not going to label this goon, this buffoon out there for publicity. But there was another podcast episode. I sent it to you off the air, Joseph, where he kind of gave me a question or asked me a question, excuse me, relating to what we're talking about, and I'm like, all right, you're now asking questions over and over and over. Are you expecting a different answer? I'm thinking I didn't say that, but he was just going on and on and on. Again, another washed up radio personality just looking for relevancy. You know what I mean? Just looking for viewpoints and ratings. It's terrible how these people will just do anything, Joseph, just to stay on the radio. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you were.
So your stuff was way more.
Person.
Your stuff was way more.
You're a podcast host, buddy. You're telling me, as a podcast host and a content creator, you depend on one person.
No, I did a great show.
Your entire fucking show.
I did a great show last night
because one person can't go on it. Are you kidding me?
I have basically given you
for a man that's been in the business for 20 years. You can't carry a show when
unlike other radio guys. I'm not going to talk over you. I'm going to let you say what you want to say and stuff.
Professional. You're calling somebody out. And you're getting to a personal demeanor.
All right, so
yeah, I know especially when you're recording an episode, a lot of shady podcasters, which you're not one, you're one of the good ones, but there are shady ones out there who indeed will ask a question over and over in hopes of getting some different bit of language that they can edit out of context to distort and twist an opinion or position.
Yeah, they're known for that. I mean, you look at like the bigwigs, right? Like, there was a couple of, big talk radio shows back in the day in the 80s and 90s, man, where they went into that rhetoric and they would look for that one pitch and they're like, all right, he's going to fold. The guest is going to fold. The caller is going to fold. And then boom, we're just going to edit something in real quick. It's shady. It's pathetic. And, I'm not one of those. And I thank you, Joseph, for recognizing that of myself, it's just like, come on, guys. Are you that bland of a show where you're going to bring somebody on, just to try to belittle them or use them as, to make yourself more relevant, into the industry? It's pathetic, Joseph. It really is.
Yeah, and all you can do as a guest, if they keep fishing to try to get some sort of different answer of the same question, is to say, I already answered that. I've got nothing more to add on that topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I was perfectly clear with him on this. And, I said, listen, I gave you my answer. I had to cancel. I was supposed to be on a show like the day before, but I had to cancel because, I had some commitments I had to attend to, some family issues. And then I actually was in Georgia last week for a Republican conference, for the Pray Vote. What the hell was it called again? Pray Vote Standard or something. I forgot the last one, but it was basically it was a Republican conference right out of Atlanta, Georgia. So some of the shows I was like pretty much doing like right out of the comforts of the freaking hotel.
Yeah, so it sounds like they tried to play on the Eat, Pray, Love success, and so that was Pray, Vote something, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. They were going to basically the conference that I attended to, and I wanted to attend to that conference is because the message that they were trying to bring out. It was ran by the Republican committee out of Central Georgia, which is a very small section of Atlanta, and it was held in Dunwoody, Atlanta, which is like the north end of Atlanta, not too far from where I used to live, actually. And yeah, it was basically intended for, voting integrity, to pretty much try to end the ballot boxes in Atlanta or, around the surrounding area, which is great. I hope other states, kind of go to that avenue. But, folks, I made a mistake. I went on a show and, it was just hogwash. It was a simple attack. And, I've learned my lesson, and I know that these people are just there for, either publicity or they're just there to, make themselves more relevant in the industry. Again, a washed up radio personality from another show. I'm not saying the other show for publicity issues, but it's just another radio.
Hey guys, this show is now on Amazon Music and Audible. That's right. Gonna want to check us out on Amazon Audible and Amazon Music. Great set of platforms. We are so honored and grateful to be part of the Amazon team. And we're honored that they are allowing us to be launched on those two major platforms. So thank you to our new friends here on Amazon Music and Audible.
Unfiltered.
But it's just another radio personality that's washed up, that's just trying to, stay relevant, and he's doing whatever it takes. So,
Yeah. I was on such a show where, again, I won't give the name, but it's run by an atheist, and he invited me on to talk about my book, knowing that there are, issues of faith in my book. And his whole shtick is to lure people on and then basically spend an hour attacking their Christianity. But, it ended up being fun. I felt I gave it back to him. and I don't regret being on it. I sure as heck won't be on any show ever again, but,
Yeah, well, just look at it. Just look at it at this, Joseph. Like I looked at, being on, these past couple of shows that, kind of used me as leverage a little bit. Just think of this. Just think of the base that you created for your book. They heard your voice. They, whether it was a video, what was it, video or was it audio?
That one was audio only.
Oh, okay. So they heard your voice, right? They heard some of your content, your book and everything. Just look at it as free publicity,
Exactly.
free marketing. You know what I mean? So
it's not likely, though, anyone in his audience was going to buy my book, but it shows integrity on my part, as what you did, integrity on your part, a willingness to go into unfriendly territory and hold your own.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised. Maybe some of his listeners will tune into your book or, check it out, just out of curiosity. You never know, Joseph. You'd be very surprised of some of the audience that you attach yourself to.
Yeah, you're right. In the you never know category, I will give one other podcast a shout out. Paranormal Phil. Now, you could tell right by the title, he normally deals in ghosts and orbs and UFOs and psychic phenomena and that. And I actually had a couple of stories that I could relate to that audience, but he said, no, I want you on strictly to talk about your book. And I was flabbergasted, but, like you do, he also, Paranormal Phil wanted an occasional episode here and there that wasn't the same old shtick like you and I did the movies episode last week. That was a lot of fun. It was something different and a change of pace every once in a while for your audience.
Oh yeah, that was extremely fun. And I had a comment that came in from TikTok, because I love plugging in those teasers, on TikTok. And somebody commented in. I'm gonna have to send a screenshot of it. I don't know, Mackenzie, does TikTok allow screenshots? They do. Okay, so I'm gonna have to send a screenshot to you, Joseph, like when we get off the air here, because the comment came in where they actually applauded you for the one part of the segment where you got into what the hell was that movie? You got into that one movie with shit. I don't have the damn clip.
Do you remember what it was about or who was in it?
We were talking about that one. Remember that one clip we were talking about with the it wasn't part of your favorite movies, but you plugged it in anyway because you thought it was very fascinating and interesting.
The artist? The artist?
The artist, right? Yeah.
Yeah, where it is part black and white and silent and part in color and a talkie because, yeah, people, certainly the younger generations, have never seen a silent movie in their life and they lack any historical perspective. So the artist is indeed a modern movie to give you a feel of what life and time was like back during your grandpa's days.
Yeah, that was the movie that he was thank you, Mackenzie. You got to catch me on the right stuff or I'm going to sound like a jackass on the show. Thank you. But anyway, guys, I just thought I'd, kind of go into a couple little segments there. I want to get into this poll here, Joseph. I don't know if the polls are similar to, what they are here in Florida, but this poll coming out here in Florida, Joseph, that now 3.6% more women than men are being added to the voter rolls.
I've seen something similar to that, and it's very apropos that you bring that up because before I came on with you, I am literally putting together a fourth piece because I just joined the Liberty Beacon team, the libertybeacon.com. So not this coming weekend, I've got a piece on school reform needed now, but I'm putting together for the following weekend about polls. Difference between a standard poll and a push poll, how polls are weighted, and all those things. Because this time of the year, I don't have reason to doubt that as I think that would be more a scientific data point than a poll itself. But that does mean, if true, pollsters need to weight their polls a bit more towards the female. And again, I'll, not something like the first weekend in October on the Liberty Beacon, I'll have it and I go into this, the weighting of the polls between Democrats, independents, and Republicans, male and female, and, all those things. So polls are only as accurate as the predictive, the expected turnout. If they can judge that correctly, a poll is good. And I'm going to state in my article on the Liberty Beacon that the Trafalgar Group seems to be the only ones that get it right of late. They seem to be an honest polling group. Their reputation matters versus a lot of the others polling right now. They purposefully weight them to Democrats because they are attempting to form opinion and shape the next election rather than honestly report. And then as elections get closer, even the fake pollsters then start to try to be more realistic so that they, don't completely destroy their reputation. But these polls, you can't really trust them at this time, except for, like I say, the Trafalgar Group. I watch them, and Zogby used to be really good too, but I don't ever hear from them anymore.
Yeah, well, this was actually through the US Today Florida Network data analysis. So it was actually
they're talking scientific, real data. They're looking at the actual registrations at the Secretary of State's office. So that I have no reason to doubt what you're saying about 3.6 more women than men registering now. And that's because those women, you can almost most assuredly guess, are all pro-abortion women and upset about the Dobbs case, or they previously would have been registered voters?
Well, Joseph, this is this is obviously in Florida, and this is obviously after the Roe v. Wade. Most of this is coming from. Are you familiar with the League of Women? It's some type of organization.
Yeah, League of Women Voters. Yeah, they often arrange debates in various states. Yes.
Yeah, well, this is coming mostly of the Democratic-run areas and cities here in Florida, which are West Palm Beach. Now, Palm Beach is more leaning but West Palm, in that whole downtown West Palm Beach district, that's mainly Democrat. So you're seeing a lot of this 3.6 percentage rate in Florida and Democratic run cities.
Yeah, that lends even more credence to what my speculation is, that it is indeed all pro-baby killer first-time voters because of the Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade, and the left trying to turn this election into that issue only, whereas we have to make sure we harp on the economy with prices, just soaring out of control. How can you go to the grocery store on any regular basis and think abortion is somehow the main issue? And again, abortion has not been overturned. It is not illegal. It is legal still in a majority of states. It's a states' rights issue now, as it always should have been.
Yeah, and it's like the same issue that we're talking about now, that this goon, this buffoon I was on the show the other day, asks me the same, doesn't ask me the same question, excuse me. He asked me a question in that part of the conversation we had, which was around maybe 40, 45 minutes. And he says, well, Michael, do you support women, to have an abortion? I said, not unless they're, raped or if they don't consent into regular sex. Of course not. I think that's premeditated murder. And then he's like, well, so if a woman has to carry full term, because she was raped and this and that, that's okay. I said, that's not, dude, you're talking about entirely different, fucking scenario. You're talking about a woman that does not consent to regular, sexual transmission. Yeah. She's not consenting to it. It's out of her will. Is there something that we're missing here? I was pretty much, throwing at him, and it's just, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Exactly. This again is indicative of how the left operates. It's all lies and spin. They try to maintain that abortion is about rape, incest, or the life of the mother. Well, modern technology and healthcare has come to the point where the life of the mother excuse is nil, next to nil. And it is the same with rape and incest. The amount of life, rape, and incest all amount to less than 1% of all abortion. So, hey, I'm pro-life. I want no exceptions. But you know what? I'll happily agree to the life and rape and incest exceptions, because that will save millions of babies' lives. That will save 99% of current abortions that are clearly just elective, selective. I just don't feel like having a baby now. Excuses. And that's not even an excuse, because birth control, there are so many forms of pill or physical birth control, more than there's ever been on the history of this planet available. And you can even get those things free from some places. So there's no excuse. And then out of paranoia, I would even concede and allow for the day after pill, which many still say, the fertilization happened, so conception has happened, and that is still killing. But I would even go so far as to say, okay, rape and incest. You've got the morning after pill. You can take that up to a couple of weeks after the sex. There is no excuse to kill a child once you know an actually formed child is in the womb.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, what it boils down to, folks, is if you want to ask my personal opinion, where I wouldn't mind my tax-paying money, folks, going to what Joseph had just mentioned, Planned Parenthood centers where there's more funding going into, birth control and, companies that produce and manufacture condoms and stuff like that. I would not have a problem if this so-called administration would come out with an agenda like that, which I highly fucking doubt. But, I want to talk about something here that we're on this subject here, and then I'm going to move on. That, Florida, Joseph, has seen a boost in women registering since the Supreme Court's Dobbs versus Jackson, right, Women's Health Organization decision back in June 24, folks, which overturned its 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling. So this is a first. This is a first boost for the state of Florida. So it's pretty impressive, I guess, in some ways of it. But
which raises the question, though, because I've said this on other shows. I'm pretty sure I've not said it on yours, though. 40% of Christians, and this is not to make it just about Christians, but I know the stat on Christians, people of faith in general, all right? 40% of
politicians prospered, the establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. That all changes starting right here and right now. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. It's going to be only America first, by American and hire American. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships. But we will get the job done. Together we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. This moment is your moment. It belongs to you.
Demonstrated are not even registered to vote. If you are a person of faith, how can you not be registered to vote? Neil Mammon has a great book out called Jesus is Involved in Politics. I do not get how people of faith think that you're not supposed to be involved in worldly politics. They've obviously never read Romans. You have to, your politics have to follow your faith, not the other way around. Fake Christians like Pelosi and Biden, who are pro-baby killer, allow their politics to encroach on their faith rather than the other way around. And if the 40% of Christians, most of whom would be constitutionalist conservatives leaning, would register to vote, and this goes to election fraud, if they all registered and voted, if you all got off your ass, if you're one of those people and voted, they could not even cheat enough to defeat us. Purple states would be red states overnight, and many blue states would become purple states.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that one time on my show, but you just went to another alternative conversation about it pretty much. So yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you, Mackenzie. Mackenzie just gave me a cup of coffee. She said I needed it. So thank you. Yeah. But we were Joseph. Remember when we were talking about this not too long ago with extremism? I think that was like a couple episodes back.
That was a very good episode too. People need to go back to listen to the extremism episode, the Biden and Democrats deflections episode, and again, for a bit of a change of pace and fun, the movies episode.
Oh yeah, that was a damn good episode. But there was an article here I was reading because I love this Florida Today newspaper. It's tremendous. It like pretty much separates from the rest of the newspapers. It really does. Well, just in Florida Today, guys, there's an article that was out that, since we were talking about extremism just a couple episodes back, I want to kind of bring this into it because the type of episode that we're calling this today is We the People, We've Had Enough. And it pretty much represents this title very accurately. That extremism now, Joseph, the activity is now rising to 71%. And you can read this article, folks, on the FloridaToday.com website. It's roughly on, 3A? Yeah, page 3A. That Florida, just in the state of Florida, right, Joseph? 207 incidents in 2021, right? Versus 121 reports in 2020. Guess how many incidents right now in the state of Florida?
I can't even begin to imagine.
It's up there. It's roughly about almost 470. It's doubled. Now, hold on. A lot of it is going to be questions like, why has it doubled? You have a really, really super, governor known as Ron DeSantis. I thought he was supposed to protect the state and this and that. Well, he's doing a damn good job. He really is. But he is being challenged by a lot of Democratic-run cities that are literally not doing a damn thing about it.
Oh, exactly right. I mean, the reddest of states have blue cities. I mean, you can look at Texas, right? Houston and Dallas are deep blue cities. Michigan is a purplish state. We go back and forth in the governor's office and that seemingly every 8 years between Democrat and Republican. The majority of Michigan is red, but you have deep blue Detroit and Lansing and Pontiac and Flint and Saginaw, who then can overwhelm the vote of the rest of the state. These deep blue cities are dragging our red states down. And here again, the left loves to twist things. They like to say that the biggest amount of the higher amounts of welfare are in red states. That is, of course, manipulating the data. As the saying goes, lies, damn lies, and statistics. If you drill down on a county level, which is what you should do, or you can't really necessarily do a city even, because even some small cities can be heavily Democratic. But if you look at a county level, like the Wayne County in Michigan, which is Detroit, you look at a county level, and those are blue counties that have the highest handout rates because they're deep blue run.
Well, Joseph, did you hear this this latest statement that was made by California's governor, Gavin Newsom? He's literally not only is he making hateful rhetoric and stupid nonsense, he just said not too long ago, I think it was like the other day. Yeah, it was the other day. He is now calling the state of Texas and the state of Florida, right? He's attacking Florida and Texas and saying that these states are home to neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups. And then, get this, I know you're getting a chuckle. He's also saying that it's been reported that the state of Florida is home to an extensive, interconnected network of extremist groups that collaborate in planning and carrying out propaganda distribution campaigns, banner drops, and in-person demonstrations.
Yeah, well, again, this is the deflection from the left, like we discussed during the deflection episode. It's more deflection. Cry racism, try to point out, the boogeyman of neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Are there some? Absolutely, positively, but they are such a small portion. If there's anybody in this audience that happens to be black, who's a bigger threat to you, a neo-Nazi or the Biden administration destroying your paycheck and your 401k? Who is a greater threat to you? I mean, this is not the 1950s. Let's be real.
Well, according to Joe Biden, the job market is strong. It's at a 50-year high, he said.
Yeah, well, again, they like this is the lies, damn lies statistics over again. Under the Obama administration, they did the same baloney. They destroyed the economy. They changed the definition by which they measured the unemployment rate. So unemployment is still low. Yeah, based on the false methodology you use to report it versus how it always used to be reported. So the only thing that matters today is the labor participation rate. And guess what? We are at the lowest recorded labor participation rate in the history of our nation, even lower than Obama's record low labor participation rate.
Yeah, Joseph, I actually seen that this morning. It's bad. It's not good.
That's all the left has. Spin everything. Lies and distortions and deflections. The whole shout racism thing, like you brought up. Neo-Nazis are the greatest threat to America. Oh, give me a break. I wrote the definitive book on terrorism of our time. And again, that's not saying it. Others say that. I just repeat it.
Yeah.
Neo-Nazi threats are next to nil. Do they exist? Yeah.
But weren't they doing this shit like in the 70s too? I mean, this is nothing new, Joseph.
Yeah, the left have always done this. Yeah, and they got away with it. It's less effective than
Matchmaker.fm is the platform to connect guests with podcasters. Podcasters find your dream guests instantly based on their area of expertise. Filter by location, search based on keywords, and you can even get to know your guests by watching their video pitch. Found someone interesting? No problem. Contact guests instantly via chat and schedule a time to record. No more backwards and forwards via email. It's everything you need to manage your show and tell amazing stories. Guests easily connect with thousands of podcasters who are looking to interview storytellers and experts just like you right now. Easily find podcasts based on their category, location, and more, and pitch them directly within Matchmaker. Book more appearances more quickly and share your wisdom with millions of listeners all over the world. The best part? It's completely free to get started. Just sign up, choose whether you want to create a profile for your podcast or as a guest, or you can do both. Fill out a few details about yourself and you'll be ready to start making those connections within minutes.
said by the left about it.
Yeah, folks, you hear Joseph. He's fired up, and I give him the floor all the time because he's speaking the truth. He's not giving you that narrative bullshit. Speaking of narrative bullshit, I was just happened to be in downtown Orlando just the other day, and I'm coming out of a Not Starbucks. I'm coming out of what's that, Joseph?
Did you pick up a set of Mickey Mouse ears?
No. No, I don't support that woke company because they went total woke. It's crazy. You can't even go to Disney World right now without seeing rainbow colors all over the fucking place. Yeah. But anyway, I happened to come out of this coffee shop, not Starbucks, not Einstein Bagels. It was just a very local, coffee shop. Because I love the local business, especially in Orlando. There's a lot of awesome local companies.
Supporting small business. We've discussed that before. I joked about it in another episode when you had an ad for a local restaurant or something, and I was joking with you about whether you're becoming the My Pillow guy. But no, seriously, we got to support local businesses. Nothing Mike Lindell won't sell through his My Store.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor.
But we've got to support small business owners.
Yeah, and what they're doing to my pillow guy, Mike Lindell, is terrible. But listen
that's
to
a whole other thing, right? But Orlando, you were sorry, I've interrupted you several times now.
You do it a lot, but I forgive you. But anyway, I'm coming out of this coffee shop, and I hear this woman, carrying out a conversation, and I somewhat, accidentally, eavesdrop a little bit on the conversation, which I think we all do today. And she's talking about these narrative points that, mainly liberal companies such as Politico and, other companies are putting out this garbage of articles, and she's telling me, Mackenzie, fourth cup, please. Thank you. she's telling the other person that she's talking to about it. That, you got to listen to what Political's now saying, that Donald Trump is upset that these FBI agents walk through his bedroom with their shoes on. And then she laughs and chuckles. What difference does it make? I'm thinking to myself, well, would you want FBI agents storming through your fucking house with their nasty, dirty boots on?
Again, that's part of the deflection. Saul Alinsky. People, if you've not read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, who is heralded by all the left-wing loons about identify a target, polarize, demonize, attack that target. Not about issues, personal ad hominem attacks. The person didn't talk about, obviously, the unconstitutional violation of his rights.
Yeah.
It was about whether or not he's upset they were wearing shoes.
My very luxurious and enjoyable life. I had such a nice life. Oh, yeah. Now they want to say, let's go get this guy. They've been trying for 6 years. They haven't made it. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. But I left a life of luxury, an enjoyable life. I mean, it was incredible. And I left it behind, stepped into the political arena. Thanks a lot. The radical left Democrats have been fighting tooth and nail to stop me because they know I will never be loyal to them, because I will only be loyal to you and to our country.
Certainly nothing about the warrant being overly broad, again, a violation, and allowing them to search Barron's bedroom, Melania's closet, and panty drawer. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, it wasn't her closet.
Going to be hidden there.
Yeah, it wasn't her closet, man. It was her underwear drawer or something. Right. They said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I want to get back to this other story here with you, Joseph. What's your thoughts on obviously it's a big freaking headliner now in the news, where mega governor Ron DeSantis is literally, he had enough of these illegal immigrants, and we just sent two.
This is a massive policy failure by the president. This is a massive and intentional policy that is causing huge amount of damage all across the country, and it's all rooted in a failure to take care that the laws are faithfully executed and to fulfill his oath of office. And so instead of scrambling and worrying about a bunch of rich people and having 50, and oh, by the way, they already bust them out. They're gone. They said we want everyone. No one's illegal, and they're gone within 48 hours.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I was on Truth Social a little bit ago before the show, and someone created a mock company logo for DeSantis Air Charters. Absolutely hilarious. We now need a logo too for the Abbott Ground Bus Transport Company. And I want either DeSantis or Abbott to send some illegals to the home, like was it DeSantis or Abbott? I don't remember which. Sent them to Vice President Kamala Harris's home.
Look at my bus! Oh my God, I love it!
Vineyard. Send some to Gretchen Whitler of Michigan, governor's home, and Debbie Stabenow, our senator, to help us defeat those hypocrites. We need more of it. We need them to ship some to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh to confront Uncle Festerman. Now, I'm no fan of Dr. Oz. I think he's an Oprah boy still. He still says she's a good friend and a trusted advisor. Well, any advice Oprah gives you, you should do the opposite. But is he better than Uncle Festerman? Without a question. I would vote encouraging Pet Rock over the fascist crash.
Democrats going absolutely ballistic after getting just a small sample of the border crisis. President Biden and blue states ramping up their attacks against Republican governors who've been relocating migrants to proud sanctuary enclaves. Ron DeSantis sending 2 flights of migrants to Obama's favorite vacation spot.
John Fetterman.
Yeah, they're going after everybody, including Kid Rock, for making his political music. They're like, oh, he's such a mean guy, and everything else. Did you hear AOC the other day? Delusional AOC. She says, why is Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott, and even Alabama's Kay Ivey sending all these immigrants to our areas and this and that? This is such. This is not American. They're anti-American. This is not right. This is not right. Oh, it's not right. What happens then? Joe Biden then makes a statement. Get this, folks. Joe Biden makes a statement and says that, all of the migrants were safely deported out of Martha's Vineyard. How long did it take them to do that, Joseph? Less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah, all these liberals who claim to be for open borders and declare themselves sanctuary cities, until some actually show up there, then their farcical hypocrisy shows. And I thank Abbott for being the first to do it, and DeSantis now with flights taking it to even another level.
Kay Ivey's literally joining on the board too. Alabama's Kay Ivey. Yep.
Well, it is forcing even CNN and MSNBC to acknowledge the fact where they have been trying to completely ignore the story before. So it's working. I saw a California Democrat on Newsmax a little earlier today coming out and demanding that Biden, so fellow Democrats, the very few moderates that still exist, are fed up too and saying this has to stop. And since you mentioned AOC, I hope people too, we had an episode on AOC the last month or so. That's worth going back to listen to to that whole episode about AOC because she is the hypocrite of all hypocrites of the left.
Yeah, it was about a month ago, Joseph. But they have this new probe now that's targeting DeSantis, Massachusetts, somewhere in Massachusetts. Here, it's coming right out of Martha's Vineyard, not too far from between Massachusetts and New Hampshire. That authorities in Massachusetts said just yesterday that they have requested a federal human trafficking probe after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis claiming that Ron DeSantis may be in violation for using taxpayer money and also the Homeland Security sector of Florida to help aid in the transportation with these 50 Venezuelan migrants to Martha's Vineyard. So we do know that they're Venezuelan descent.
Yeah,
and
even though none of these people are forced on, they're asked if they want to go. They agree to go. And even though the Florida legislature put a stipend of $12 million in the Florida budget to do this, specifically do this, and, and it completely ignoring that Biden in the middle of the night has been flying illegals all over the nation. So charge him with human trafficking first.
Yeah. Did you hear the Massachusetts U.S. Attorney Rachel Rollins? She says that she was grateful to hear that that Massachusetts is pushing to get even the DOJ involved now after DeSantis.
Yeah.
And then get this. Listen to this, Joseph. That the migrants that were picked up in Texas. Right? That was used under 12 million taxpayers, she says. That's terrible. No, what's terrible is that Biden is so quick into response to do something about it in Martha's Vineyard. Joseph, these are only 50 migrants. How come he's doing something for 50 migrants, but still denies going down to the southern border where the real crisis is and handling that? Joseph, this is why DeSantis, Greg Abbott, and even Kay Ivey and others are joining in this movement. They are doing this as a political move to show the Biden administration what type of crisis we have in the country.
Yeah, and this further again shows the hypocrisy and one of the biggest reasons why Martha's Vineyard didn't want the 50 that they got. Because like you said, these are Venezuelan asylum seekers. These are legitimate asylum seekers. They know that these people are likely to be Republicans because it's the Democrats. They know darn well it's the Democrats that supported the Chavez socialist overthrow of the Democratic government prior to that in Venezuela, and that communism is destroying that country, and they're fleeing because they are actually being persecuted and have the threat of being killed in their own nation, as opposed to 99% of all the other illegals flowing over the border just because they want to come to raid our treasury because they know they'll get Obamacare and welfare. And some of them certainly want to work, no doubt, but most of them just want on our welfare system. They just want the generosity. They know the Democrats will give them to buy their vote. And it is important to be said about the immigration issue. I do discuss it in my book briefly. It's a national security issue. There has been more than 100 this year alone caught. That's caught. How many have got away we don't know about? But 100 caught from terrorist funding nations that are on our terror watch list. And overall, immigrants from more than 200 nations on this planet. These aren't all Mexicans and Colombians and Argentinians and South Americans. These are people from all over the planet, flying into Mexico and flooding across our border. They are a terrorist
picture. Yeah, Joseph, they're painting the picture where, some of these migrants have traveled thousands of miles and this and that. And, they get here and what are they doing? They're wearing Nike shoes. They're wearing, branded type of backpacks. And, they have new shirts and new jeans on. Yeah, right. They're private fucking helicopters that drop them off about a mile or two from the border. They paint that Hollywood little stunt of an act. And that's that. And then, the media comes in right at the correct timing and they do all their manipulation of talk points. And, they want sympathy from the American people and this and that,
Exactly. But, not to fat shame. This is not about fat.
Yeah.
But look at these people. They're not hard up. They're well fed. They're not starving to death people either. Because the left is well funding these people all through South America and Mexico in order to flood our borders. Instead of having charities to help American citizens, they want to help others illegally flood our country while veterans suffer, average Americans suffer. They don't give one shit about American citizens.
Yeah, Joseph, I was about to mention here, we don't have a problem like that here in Florida. DeSantis is setting up all these little, basically, he's called them human ports. And what I mean by that is this is fairly new, probably in media. I don't know if you ever heard of this term. It's human ports. Basically, what I mean by that is there's other wording for it, but we're just going to use human ports because that's what I've been hearing lately, where he's setting up a bunch of Homeland Security agents and Border Patrol agents all over the state of Florida, which, he's getting attacked from the Democrats too and the radical left saying that, he doesn't have a heart and he's anti-American and this and that. But he's protecting our state. And, he is actually doing what he was elected to do. So you have all over the state of Florida, all these basic, men and women that are placed in, high place areas, danger zones of what they call them sometimes, where you would actually see like these little banana boats, that may be offensive to some people, but that's what they're called. They're called banana boats. These little homemade rafts that come in mainly sometimes in the Keys or Miami or Fort Lauderdale, usually down in South Florida, not so much in North Florida, but South Florida. So he has a lot around like South Florida, around the Keys, Sarasota, Fort Myers, areas like that, Miami. And, that's what he's doing. He's protecting it. He's like, what, if Biden doesn't want to, put more high interest in our border issue, we have a humanitarian crisis right now, folks, in this country. And it's terrible. We not only do we have a humanitarian crisis, we have a fentanyl crisis. There is more fentanyl coming to this country more than ever, and it's outrageous.
Yeah, Florida is different and unique in that, and because Cuba being there, Cuban refugees are again act like Venezuelans. Generally, real asylum seekers under the point and purpose and intent of our asylum laws, escaping actual persecution. And Cuba, again, another situation. The American left props up that communist government. They go there, they vacation there, they support the Cuban Communist Party and uphold that. It would have collapsed long ago, because when the Soviet Union collapsed, they stopped funding Cuba. But the American leftists came into this, to the rescue to help keep Cuba communist, or it would have collapsed and became a free state, a free country again long ago, if not for the American left.
Yeah. We're on this issue here. We're going to close it up here. I got to make a couple announcements before we close it up, but I want to get into this just really, really quick, brief part of the show since we're on this this topic of human trafficking and just everything. Florida now is coming out with a program now, Joseph, where they're calling it a secret blacklist, and this is to keep tabs on motorists. Now, experts are saying that data effort maybe threaten civil liberties and such, but this is where they're going at with this, folks. And you may agree with it or you may not. It's up to you. I agree with it. That Florida is using electric or electronic toll plazas spaced across 628 miles of highways to capture images and data of passing vehicles. Now, this was introduced roughly about a few months ago, and you could see these cameras at toll plazas, where before they would just, take a picture of your license plate, where they would get the violator that wouldn't pay the toll. Now, Joseph, they have more pictures, mainly on like large area, such as, I-95 on the east coast of Florida, the other major expressways on the West Coast. And then, we have that roadway that goes from the West Coast of Florida over to Miami, which is also known as Alligator Alley. Okay. All over Florida, we have all these new cameras going up. They're using it to keep tabs of just who the hell is on our highways, because this term was used in the 70s. I think it was even used back in the 50s and 60s, where they would say, highways were basically the breeding ground of human trafficking. Have you ever heard that term before, Joseph?
Yeah, and this gets into touchy territory because the Supreme Court has indeed ruled you have no expectation of privacy in public places. So they can surveil. That's why there are cameras everywhere in public. But actually taking a photo and attempting to charge you with something is likely a violation of due process. You can't just surveil in hopes of catching a crime. You are innocent until proven guilty, and they can't just, it's an issue here in Michigan. Some want to put cameras in construction zones on the freeways to catch speeders, to keep the speed down to like 35 or 45 in construction zones. Well, that's assuming you're behind the wheel of your vehicle. You can't.
Yeah, but don't you think, I know it might be evasion of privacy and everything else. I see where people might be going with it, but don't you think that, this program that's being rolled out, now in Florida, and I know parts of California are using a similar system, but don't you think that, by using this may, have police officers and regular law enforcement, state troopers and such, don't you think that it may be easier for these agencies to pretty much catch the bad guys and put them where they belong?
Oh, absolutely. But again, it's rather problematic. Where does our rights as citizens end in the pursuit of catching bad guys? It's like the Patriot Act, right?
Yeah.
The Patriot Act was about catching foreign bad guys. It's turned on its head, and it's used to surveil and trump up charges against United States citizens now. It has to go. It has to be completely reworked or completely scrapped to protect U.S. citizens' rights. So, yeah, there's that fine line. But like Franklin said, those who give up liberty and
savaged, unfiltered.
The pursuit of security deserve neither.
Yeah. Well, this is actually said similar in some ways by attorney Lee Teen with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is a California-based nonprofit that advocates for digital privacy. Now, the attorney said this, where part of the freedom that we think we have comes from the fact that we're not being spied on and watched all the time. Also said by this Lee Teen, I think it's either Lee, I don't know who this person is specifically. I think it's a gentleman. Well, he said that for many people, they're like, nobody. Who the hell cares about me? But part of what's the case about this kind of Rootney's surveillance is that they don't have to care about you at first. They just collect as much data as possible, then ask who's investing stuff in that matter. I get what he's saying or she's saying in a way, but I mean, yes, invasion of privacy. But, you know, Joseph, I have to conclude here with this last segment. You know, if we don't put cameras on major expressways, right, or anywhere in any state, you're setting yourself up for more crime and more violence. There has to be surveillance and monitoring to an extent. I mean, I'm sure you would agree to that to an extent.
Again, it is a fine line, and there's the saying, if you don't do anything wrong, you've got nothing to hide. Why are you worried? Well, let me answer my own question. Have you not been fucking paying attention the last 10 years at the political persecution of people who have actually done nothing wrong for political purposes? We are turned into a third world country. So 50 years ago, that may have been okay, but it's the slippery slope. When you allow this, you give them an inch, they take 10 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that term before too, because I used that term too just recently. And I put a comment out on TikTok, and a fellow TikToker, another content creator, basically laughed at me and said, a third world nation or a banana republic? Are you fucking stupid? Like, what are you smoking? And then I'm laughing at myself, and I'm showing the comment to Mackenzie, and she's laughing too, and she's like, apparently this guy is living under a rock because he absolutely has no idea what the hell's going on.
It's clearly a CNN or MSNBC viewer. These people live a delusion. They have zero concept of what's going on around them. Everyone who has their eyes even remotely open, and I have a favorite song that I like to put on social media every once in a while from Disturbed is Open Your Eyes. It's a very patriotic but anti-government surveillance song about look around you. Stop being a lemming. You're being fed. You're a sheeple. Open your damn eyes and see what's going on around you. And it's like the old saying, first they came for the whatever, and I said nothing because I wasn't a whatever. Then they came for the so-and-sos, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a so-and-so. And eventually they came for me, and there was nobody left to stand up for me.
Joseph, I think you just quoted something too. I heard that very recently by Dr. Michael Savage. So, yeah.
Were the ones who needed to be put down like the mad dogs they were. Instead, the Ryans, the Bidens, the Pelosi's, and the others of their...
And I did see some of that, what you were talking about on your Instagram account. I seen a video that's going way, way back, though, on your Instagram. But, yeah, good stuff. Joseph, we're going to conclude here. Believe it or not, actually, guys, I want to put this in here real quick. Actually has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I want to conclude on this episode. Some fun and some excitement that I've been doing lately. Joseph, I tried country line dancing the other day. Yes, I was getting ahas too. Yeah.
A few months ago, I'm on the Michigan 12th Congressional District Republican Committee, and we had a First Responders Appreciation Day at a country bar where we all did line dancing too, as just kind of part of a fun thing. But it was about first responders appreciation. So, so that's funny. It's fun. It's certainly not something I do much. And, I go back to the disco days, so I knew all those line dances back then, the hustle and all that stuff. So I didn't do the country line dancing because it's really kind of just disco line dancing now to country music, but stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how was the disco era in the 1970s there in Detroit?
It was pretty good, pretty fun. We had a local disco that we went to and enjoyed a lot.
So Motor City was very well alive under the disco era then, huh?
Oh, yeah. And also local radio station, WRIF Rock. I'm sure a lot of other stations around the country were engaged in that Citizens Against the Disco Sucks movement. And that, but I've always liked every kind of music. And it's not like, I like country, I like disco. It's not like disco went away. It's just called dance techno now or whatever, dance and techno, and it didn't go away. It still exists. And even Kiss recorded a disco song. The Rolling Stones did a 12-inch single version of, I forget what song it was, for the discos. So give me a break on this disco versus rock thing. I like all music, even back to classical, country, jazz, rock, pop, rap. I like it all. I can appreciate it all. It all takes a degree
you
of talent.
All of it then, yeah. Mackenzie just threw me a note, and she's like, I think Joseph just set us up for maybe possibly Wednesday. We'll do that on Wednesday or something. We'll come up with a music segment on the show. I'd love to see some of your I'd love to see some of your interest.
Yeah, I can talk about my dad then, because my father was the founder and leader of the Polka Kings, because I'm, predominantly Polish. So, yeah, my dad was created and had a polka band. They have 3 albums. You can still find them, the Polka Kings. And, yeah, I love music. And you mentioned my Instagram. Just before we go, I want to throw out, I'm J. Leonard Detroit on Instagram and actually most social media. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on Parler, Freely, MeWe, Truth, virtually every platform. I'm J. Leonard Detroit. And again, there's no Owen Leonard. If you don't know that yet from all the episodes I've been on with Michael. JLENARD Detroit on social media platforms. Hopefully people will look me up. I'll follow you back.
Yeah, we got a whole library of Joseph on the show, guys. You highly suggest you check it out. Joseph, you mentioned Polka King. When I hear Polka King, it reminds me of the movie with John Candy from Home Alone.
Yeah.
The Polka King.
No, that was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that in our movies episode, right?
We should have. Yeah, we should have. But Joseph, we're going to close it out here, buddy. Thank you for being part of today's show. Guys, before you go, Joseph, I got to make a couple announcements here. First and foremost, guys, we have a guest joining us here this upcoming week. I got the semi-confirmation from him, just waiting for the third. I always usually throw it out like 2 or 3 emails sometimes. Myself and Mackenzie does it. We're going to have a gentleman by the name of Kevin Palarami, if I'm pronouncing his name right. He's an author and writer, and he goes into a lot of different types of work. We're also having a couple guests joining us. We have a guest joining us from the UK, Dr. Karaj Pazadi. Guys, I'm terrible with the pronunciation sometimes. But, just check out some of these guest spots. I put them out on social media, on Instagram, all the guest appearances coming on the show. Tremendous type of different guest. I know we have a couple coming from the UK again. We're also, get this, Joseph, we're also re-inviting the Therapy Twins back on the air for part 2. It was only 45 minutes that we had the Therapy Twins on for the first part, but we're going to give them a little bit more time for the second part because, some of the listeners, especially the ones on TikTok, are commenting back on that episode. We need more of the Therapy Twins. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do not only what's best for the show, but what's best for, business in the industry of podcasting. So check out the Therapy Twins back on the airwaves this upcoming 29th of this month. So you're going to want to check them out. They're hilarious. They're full of humor. And some of it's raunchy, don't get me wrong, but it's so comical. And it's going to be a good show. Joseph, I'm out of words. I'm out of breath.
You probably need another cup of coffee even.
No. I had 3 already. Mackenzie's going to throw me another one, but I think if I have another cup of coffee, it's going to give me the shits, and I don't want that. But guys, you heard it. I'm Michael Gardner. This is Joseph M. Leonard, the author of Terror Strikes Coming to a City Near You. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you this upcoming Wednesday. Joseph's going to be back on the panel. So thank you very much again, Joseph, and you have a good day, man.
Yeah, take care. God bless.
All right, buddy.